back. I am Jason Wiersema. This is Tankers Fantasy Football, and we got some delicious Thanksgiving starts and sits for you guys moving into your Week 13, because it's Week 13, boys. You know what that means. Fantasy playoffs are right on our doorsteps, and we cannot afford to take a loss. So before we get started, you know how we do here at Tankers Fantasy Football. Maybe you take your finger, you go down there, a little bit below the screen down there, a little thumbs up button, you go down there, maybe you hit that for me, maybe you don't. Maybe you hook us up with a subscription, maybe you don't. Maybe you go fuck yourself. All right, we're going to dive right in. We got Todd Gurley. I know we went out there and shit all over your chest last week. Got the 22 rush yards and -3 receiving yards. What I'm saying this week, mid-range RB2, sexy deluxe Todd Gurley playing the Cardinals, give up 145 scrimmage yards a game to running backs, and the 7th most fantasy points to running backs. So all in on the Todd Gurley. Got a smash play. Le'Veon Bell playing the Bengals, giving him the 3rd most yards to running backs, 165 scrimmage yards a game to running backs. And we got Miles Sanders. If Jordan Howard sit, Miles Sanders could get it sexy down in Miami, getting the Dolphins, give him the 2nd most yards at 171 scrimmage yards to running backs a game are the Dolphins. So if Jordan Howard sits, all in, sexy deluxe, Miles Sanders. Over, we got some Ronald Jones. Jags give him the 5th most yards, 159 yards to running backs a game. Ronald Jones, and you can still continue to be an RB2 for you this week. All right, some sits. Moving into the running back sits, got some Tevin Coleman. The Ravens are giving him the 3rd fewest yards. Tevin Coleman did get in the end zone last week, but didn't really do much after that, and he hasn't really done dick all since his 4 touchdown game versus the Panthers. So I think Tevin Coleman, solid sit this week. David Johnson, I'm looking, gotta get a date. Hold on, I'll be back. We're gonna get the golden shovel for David Johnson. He deserves it. Here it is, golden shovel for David Johnson. David. Sometimes I give these guys the golden shovel and they get all pissy-wissy and they resurrect their season out there. But I don't know. I think it's safe to say that David Johnson is golden shovel deluxe. I think he's dead and buried. I think you can go ahead and you can drop David Johnson as a landmine situation, hoping that some jack-off does pick him up and somehow plays him against you in the playoffs. All right, moving into some other sits. We got some Joe Mixon playing the Jets. Jets have been shutting down pretty premium running backs of late. Saquon Barkley like 3 weeks ago. Josh Jacobs shut him down last week. So I think Mixon kind of leaned toward more of the sit with Joe Mixon this week. Also Andy Dalton back in the fray. When Andy Dalton was quarterbacking, Joe Mixon wasn't really doing dick all earlier in the season. All right, we got David Montgomery. Lions are up the 6th most yards and the 2nd most touchdowns, but I'm not buying in still. I'm still looking to sit David Montgomery versus the Lions. All right, got some Tyler. Right, moving into some wide receivers. Got a little bit ahead of myself there. Moving into some wide receivers. Got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf playing the Vikings. Give them the 7th most fantasy points to wide receivers. And you can get those guys into your lineup. Got Tyler Boyd, Andy Dalton back. You know, the Jets are giving up the 5th most touchdowns and the 8th most points to wide receivers. I think Tyler Boyd, wide receiver 3 for you this week. All right, some Devontae Parker. Eagles give him the 3rd most touchdowns. Devontae Parker's kind of been your sexy boy wide receiver 3 deluxe this last 2 months of the season. So I think he will continue to do so against the Eagles for you. All right, some Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp playing against the Cardinals. Give him the 6th most yards, 178 receiving yards. 2 wide receivers a game are the Cardinals, so feel free. Brandon Cooks has been out there doing dick all for you all season long, but I think this is the week you can get Brandon Cooks in your lineups, and he might return you a favor out there. We got some Devontae Adams playing the Giants, give the 2nd most yards, 197 yards, 2 wide receivers, and the 5th most touchdowns. So I know Devontae Adams kind of a staple in your lineup. You can't bench him regardless, kind of like an Odell Beckham Jr. thing, but I'm saying huge week for Devontae Adams, maybe even reaching into wide receiver 1 status for the 2nd time on the year. All right, we got some sits at wide receiver. We got the Galladay, Marvin Jones. We got the David Blau out there. David Blau, Purdue. Listen to Score earlier today. We had some Purdue alum talking about David Blau sucking on that ween, so he doesn't sound like he's going to be very capable out there on Thanksgiving. Something about sitting Kenny Galladay and sitting Marvin Jones. We got some Hollywood Brown versus Niners, getting the 2nd fewest yards, and Hollywood Brown went out there and loved you sexy with those 2 touchdowns on Monday night, but I think we could temper our expectations. I wouldn't necessarily bench Hollywood Brown, but temper expectations. More of a wide receiver 3 flex play than a wide receiver 2 this week. All right, we got some Will Fuller. Full on set, I think, for Fuller. Come up that 7 for 140 game. Getting your pants all tight. Will Fuller's back. You probably didn't start him. Probably wait and see. But I think after the big game, you still got to let him sit on your bench. He's playing the Patriots. Give him the fewest yards, fewest touchdowns, fewest fantasy points. 2 wide receivers on this season. There had some Debo Samuel playing the Ravens. Give him the 3rd fewest touchdown. Now he's going on the road to Baltimore. Samuel only had 2 receptions last week. One happened to be a pretty big touchdown. Saved his night. I don't think he's going to have a night saver versus the Ravens on Sunday. So go ahead, put Debo Samuel on your bench. We got some little bit of quarterbacks. We got a little bit of tight ends. We got a little bit of defenses coming at you right now. Sam Darnold versus the Bengals. Give him the 5th most points. 2 quarterbacks. We got the Biscuit Resurrection. First time on the year. We're going to put Mitchell Trubisky. Oh, yes. My Undertaker. We're going to put Mitchell Trubisky on the start list. The Lions are giving him the 3rd most yards at 289 yards. Pass yards, 2 quarterbacks all game. If you're feeling desperate, you're rolling the dice. You're just looking to look like a mastermind out there. Let's go with some Mitchell Trubisky. All right, we got some tight ends. We got some Kyle, the red-nosed reindeer, Rudolph out there playing the Seahawks, giving up the 4th most yards and the 5th most points to opposing tight ends. So, all in on the Reindeer games. Darren Waller in a bounce-back situation. He's kind of been shitting all over these past few weeks. Darren Waller playing the Chiefs, giving the 5th most yards to tight ends. We got some defensive streamers for this week. We got Philly versus the Dolphins, Chiefs versus the Raiders, and the Broncos versus happy-go-lucky turnover Uncle Phil. All right, you like the cut of my jib? Camera's kind of getting a little leany. I don't know what's going on. Might have to tighten something up over there. Kind of getting a little leany on me throughout the video. Whatever. You like the cut of my jib? Give me a like. Give me a share. Put all those questions. Put all those, who do I start? Who do I get on the waiver wire? Who do I stream? Put all those questions down in the comment section below. I will get back to you. I always do. All right, boys. Have a happy Thanksgiving out there. And I will see you next week.
I'm hot as fuck, bitch.